everybody, welcome to Get Ready With Me and Talk About Stuff. My name is Stephanie and it has been a minute. I think the last video I recorded was in March or April because I recorded it around Easter. And then after that, life just got really busy and I just didn't have the time to dive into any subjects and give them the attention they deserved to be able to make a decent video. So here we are a few months later, and it's my first video in a while. But I was missing it, and I thought, you know, it would be kind of fun if through spooky season, since I love spooky season so much, if I made a few videos and I asked people to give me topics. And one of the topics I was given happens right here in Michigan, and that's the one we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, I might do these videos beyond spooky season, depending on, you know, how many views and so forth I get, because honestly, these videos take work. I mean, I do all the research, you know, I'm finding graphics to use in the video. I mean, I do all this stuff myself. It's just me. And while I enjoy doing that very much, it is a lot to put into something that nobody watches. So if you're watching it and you're enjoying it and you'd like to see more after spooky season, the way to let me know that is to like and share the videos, because that's the only metric I have to measure how well people are paying attention to what I do. I'm not doing this to get YouTube famous or anything, but it would be nice to at least know that, you know, the content that I make is being watched, because I do put hours of effort into every episode. So, and I guess that makes today a very special episode because I haven't done it in so long. So this is a very special episode of Get Ready With Me and Talk About Stuff. Also, what was I going to say? Also, if you'd like to support future work, you can, you know, I'm not going to ask for donations or anything like that, but you can visit my Etsy shop and see if there's anything that I've created artistically that you might enjoy. That's a great way to keep the support coming in, and because the less concern I have to have about how I'm going to pay the bills, the more mental freedom I have to give to other endeavors. So, and I've expanded what I offer. I've been making jewelry. I've got t-shirts. I mean, I've got all kinds of cool stuff in there. So check it out. I put the link in the description. So today we are going to talk about the Paulding Lights. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. If I'm not, and you know the correct pronunciation, you may feel free to tell me what it is, but please do it nicely. That's all I'm asking. So the Paulding Lights, what in the heck are they? So the Paulding Lights are also known as, very creative name here, the Lights of Paulding, or more creatively, the Dog Meadow Lights. I don't know where that name comes from. By the way, I started my makeup already. I know that most people don't tune into these for the makeup, but I started doing this video a few minutes ago. I didn't like it, so I scrapped it. So I'm already through some of my steps. Sorry about that. Anyway, I don't know why they are called the Dog Meadow Lights. I really didn't research that. Once again, as with every episode, if you've watched me for a while, you know this, I have some level of dereliction of duty on virtually every episode I record, and today it's with the Dog Meadow Lights. So, these are a phenomenon that occur just outside of Paulding. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, where were we? So the phenomenon occurs in a valley just outside of Paulding, which is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's way over on the western side of the Upper Peninsula. And I was looking to see if maybe this is something I might want to go see, but it is quite far from me. So I decided at this time I will not be making plans for that. Anyway, sightings have been reported since 1966, when a group of teenagers actually reported these lights to the Paulding sheriff. Since 1966, there have been many, many, many sightings, and there has actually become, there's quite a lot of lore built up around these lights. You know, giving them a story, trying to figure out what people are seeing and why they're seeing it. Some of the lore includes the story of a particular railroad brakeman. Now, he doesn't have a name that I could find, but the legend is there were rails that ran through the valley, and once upon a time there was a train that was stopped on the tracks for some reason. I was not able to find the reason why this train was stopped, but there was a train stopped on the tracks, and the brakeman for that train saw that there was another train coming and tried to signal to that train to stop, because if the train didn't stop, it was going to collide with the one that was already stopped on the tracks, and it was going to be a disaster. Well, that train either didn't see the brakeman or just didn't understand what he was doing. I don't know why, but the outcome is that the train did not stop. So there was a collision, and it was horrible. And so the legend is that the lights that people are seeing in the valley are that very same brakeman still trying to signal a warning to oncoming trains all these years later, even though, from what I could tell, whatever rails were there are no longer in use. So you've got this poor brakeman wandering the valley, signaling with his lantern, and that is what the lights are. Another legend is that the lights are, this one's weird. I mean, they're all a little bit strange, but this one is just like, come on. So another legend is that the light is a grandchild or a grandparent looking for a lost grandchild, and they are using a lantern that has to be relit frequently, and that is why the lights come and go. When I read that, I thought that was kind of silly. I'm like, no grandparent that I know would, if they were looking for a lost grandchild, would take with them a lantern that has to constantly be relit. They're gonna find, I mean, maybe that was all they had, you know, like, let's assume for a second that that is what we're seeing. Maybe that was all they had, and, you know, they just had to work with what they had. But I don't know any grandparent who would be like, wow, this is a really craptastic lantern, so this is the one I'm going to take to go find my missing grandchild in the valley where the railroad tracks are in the dark. I just don't see that happening, but what do I know? And finally, this one too, it's like, come on, really, people? So the last legend I was able to find regarding these lights they claimed it was an indigenous person dancing on the on the power lines that had been run through the valley. I just don't even know. I don't even know what to do with that. So we're just going to move on from that. So what does science say, though? Well, aren't we lucky? Because we have an answer for that. So in October of 1990, there were some people who went up to the area where the Paulding Lights are. They did some observing, and what they discovered was by using telescopic, spectroscopic, and travel time data, which they then analyzed. What they found was the lights are, drumroll please, they're headlights. So I'm trying to remember, because I of course didn't write it down, dereliction of duty as always. This valley runs north and south. So the lights that people are seeing are traffic lights, or headlights, from people traveling on US 45 north of the valley. And these findings were confirmed later by Michigan Tech students who also observed the lights and did some analysis. And when they were there, they actually used telescopes and looked at the lights, you know, to find a source. And what they were able to see was that the lights were coming from vehicles, and in some cases even road signs. that were reflecting the light, and apparently there is a specific adopt a highway sign that that reflects light very clearly. I mean, there was no mistaking it for anything else if you have a telescope. But that is so boring. So people continue to hold on to the idea that these lights are something otherworldly. So these are not the only lights in the United States that have either no explanation or a highly contested explanation. There are also the Marfa lights, and these happen in Marfa, Texas. I remember hearing about these a while ago, and I've never known for sure what they are, so I'm really glad I came upon this in my preparation for this video. So the Marfa lights happen in Marfa, Texas, and they were first reported in 1883 by a cowhand named Robert Reed Ellison. He was taking the cattle, driving them through the Paisano Pass, and he saw these lights, and he believed they were a campfire light. It was light from campfires for the Apache tribe that he believed had made an encampment there, I guess. When he reported this to other settlers, they said, yes, we have seen those lights too. However, when we investigated those lights, not only did we not find any evidence of a campfire, we didn't find any evidence of a camp. So it was a mystery. What are these lights? Where are they coming from? Why are they coming here? And over the years, obviously, because this is what we do, there has been a lot of speculation about what they are. And, you know, I think many people consider them something otherworldly, consider them something that we can't identify. However, that's not entirely true. So there has been plenty of research done into what causes the Marfa lights, and the theory that people are running with is that is due to headlights and atmospheric conditions. I have a little bit of trouble with this only because in 1883, I don't think that, you know, traffic was very heavy at that time, and I don't think they had headlights. So that, to me, casts the conclusion into question. The atmospheric conditions, okay, I don't know much about that, so I'm not going to comment on that. But, you know, I think sometimes these answers are a little too simplistic. But again, I am not a scientist. I just don't know. There's a lot I don't know, and the source of the Marfa lights is one of them. There is also a phenomenon that happens all over the world, and it's called will-o'-the-wisp. Will-o'-the-wisp is it is also known as ghost lights. I love this. Hinky punk. I love that. Friar's lantern and hobby lantern. Those are just some of the names people give to these things. And these are lights that are seen by travelers at night, particularly when they are traveling over a bog or a marsh or a swamp. And it is believed, the lore around them is that these lights appear to misguide travelers because they appear to be flickering lanterns or flickering lamps. So the travelers would follow these lights and it would take them completely off course to their doom or something like that. Kind of like the sirens. You're following the beautiful music, not knowing they're leading you to your death. Those are the will-o'-the-wisp, supposedly. Now, legend holds, oh, I'm sorry, I already read that. So in literature, a will-o'-the-wisp represents a hope or a goal that leads people on. You know, they're pursuing it, they believe it's possible, but it stays just out of reach and they can never fully fulfill that goal. So scientifically, because, you know, science is fun, scientifically, the will-o'-the-wisp is said to be produced by gases generated as organic matter decomposes. It's a bioluminescence or chemoluminescence, I think was the word that they used. So again, they take something that could be magical and turn it into a science project. All right, so I'm just sitting here babbling. I'm going to skedaddle for a minute and finish up, and then when I come back, I'm going to wrap this up. So hang in there. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So I am dressing up every day that I work for the month of October, and today I am a unicorn. You can't see the whole entire thing, but I'm a unicorn. So, have you given some thought as to why people still believe in, the ghostly aspects of things like the Paulding Lights or the Will-o'-the-Wisp? Excuse me, my goodness, that was so rude, I'm sorry. Even though there's scientific evidence explaining what they are actually seeing and that it has no ghostly origins whatsoever. Have you given that some thought? I have. And it relates to something I said earlier in this episode, this very special episode. And I think that the reason people keep on believing, even when there is not only no evidence of paranormal activity relating to this phenomenon they're experiencing, but there's also scientific explanations for what they're experiencing. I think people believe because it's just more fun. And this is what paranormal researcher Ben Radford has to say. Now, he acknowledged that there are mysterious light sightings all over the United States, probably all over the world. And some of them have no explanation. Other sightings can be chalked up to headlights, atmospheric conditions, campfires, whatever the case might be. But he says this: at the end of the day, it's more fun to imagine the distant glimmer is a ghostly railroad brakeman's lantern than the headlights of a 2005 Honda Civic. And darned if it ain't so, right? So that's what I think. I think people believe in these things for lots of reasons. I think there is a longing to believe that there's more to life than this one chance we get to experience this world and make a mark. I think people believe in some degree because the possibility that this is all there is terrifying to them. And I also think people do legitimately have experiences that tell them there is something beyond what we know right here and now. I think that it would be, kind of arrogant to think that what we see here and now is all there is, and that if we can't prove it scientifically, then that means it's not real. And maybe that's my own desire to have, to believe in something more fun than just, this one go round that we get. But I really think that there is much more happening around us all the time than what we can see and measure with scientific devices. Ghost hunting devices aside, because even those are not, people could pick those apart all day long too. So I think at the end of the day, what you experience and how you define it, that's up to you. Things that could have possible, multiple possible explanations. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with it. And I think that in the case of the Paulding Lights, there are people who can look at the evidence and see that, and understand that, okay, they're saying it's headlights or reflections off of a road sign. I understand that. But I believe it's something more than that. I'm not going to take that belief away from anybody. But I'm also not going to travel multiple hours in my little car to go see these lights when not one but two sets of researchers have now looked into them and said it's just traffic. It's really disappointing. I'll be honest. It's very disappointing when I read a solid scientific explanation for something that I really wanted to be otherworldly. But the thing is, for every set of lights, every phenomenon that has an explanation, there are others that don't. So the truth is out there, right? And sometimes the truth is what you make of it. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts, and if you have a topic you'd like me to cover during these spooky season special episodes of Get Ready With Me and Talk About Stuff, drop it in the comments. I do have 2 or 3 more topics lined up that should take us through the month, but if I get enough interest in exploring other topics, maybe I can do, you know, more than 1 episode a week. And you know, since I might only be doing this for the month of October, we may as well, you know, just put everything I've got into it, right? So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Please forgive me for the stumbling and the stammering through this. It's been a while, and I'm kind of a little bit rusty in doing these things, and I tend to ramble anyway, and I apologize for that. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that, you know, if you were looking for something fun to do up in the Upper Peninsula, I hope that I gave you some ideas. You can go to Paulding and look at some ghost lights, and it's a good time. It's like a major tourist attraction. Go up there, have fun, write about your experience. Maybe you can get somebody from Discovery Plus to come out and ghost hunt with you. I don't know. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Don't shoot on yourself or anyone else, and I will see you later. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.